A trap has been set not to destroy you, but to reveal you. My child, stop. Take a breath. Something unseen has just shifted around you, and this message is finding you at the exact moment your soul was ready to remember. There is something hidden in your path, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. The universe is not whispering today. It is revealing, you didn't arrive here by chance. Your spirit was guided. What you've been feeling lately, the heaviness, the quiet questions, the sudden pauses in your heart, those were signs. Signs that a veil was thinning. Signs that a truth long protected is now stepping into the light for you. The divine has been watching patiently as you grew, healed, and questioned yourself. And now, in perfect timing, you are being shown what was once concealed. There is a moment when destiny leans close and says, "Now." This is that moment. A realization is unfolding, gentle but undeniable. You may have sensed it in dreams, or in the silence between your thoughts. You may have felt it as a subtle nudge to slow down, to listen deeper, to trust what you cannot yet see. That is because a trap has been quietly revealed, not to bind you, but to free you from what no longer aligns with your truth. This is not about fear. This is about clarity. The universe never exposes without purpose. What was hidden was only hidden so you could grow strong enough to see it without losing your light. You were never meant to be stuck. You were meant to awaken. And now, the path ahead is being softly illuminated, step by step, with divine precision. I want you to feel this personally, because it is. Your name was written into this moment. The delays, the detours, the unanswered questions were not punishments, they were protection. You were being prepared for a higher understanding, a deeper peace, and a clearer direction. The revelation arriving now is not an ending. It is a release. As you continue watching, allow your heart to stay open. Let the message settle where it needs to. The universe is reminding you that you are supported, guided, and never alone. What comes next carries hope. It carries renewal. It carries a sense of divine purpose that will make sense of everything you've endured. If this message resonates with your spirit, honor it. Stay with this video until the end, because every word is unfolding in sequence for you. Like this video to affirm the message, share it with someone who may also be standing at a crossroads, and subscribe to the channel to stay connected with divine revelations meant for your journey. Watch complete this video, and step forward with clarity, trust, and light. I speak now in the stillness between your breaths, in the pause where your thoughts hesitate and your heart listens. Do not rush past these words. Do not skim them as if they are ordinary. They arrive wrapped in mystery because mystery is the doorway through which awakening enters. I am not loud, yet nothing is louder than my whisper when you finally hear it. I am not far, yet you have searched for me as though I were hidden behind mountains and years. Listen carefully, for what I reveal now has been unfolding longer than you realize. A trap has been forming in silence, not forged by cruelty, not designed for harm, but woven by truth itself. It is a moment you cannot avoid, a crossing where masks loosen and intentions are uncovered. You thought traps were always dark things, set by fear or malice, but I tell you this, some traps are made of light. They catch illusions. They hold false certainty in place until it can no longer pretend to be real. This is such a time. You have felt it approaching in the subtle tightening of circumstances, in conversations that linger in your mind, in patterns repeating until they could no longer be ignored. I have watched you walk with questions tucked deep inside, questions you were afraid to ask because you sensed the answers would require change. You called it intuition. You called it restlessness. You called it fate. Yet it was my hand, steady and patient, guiding you toward a moment of seeing. The trap has been set not because you are weak, but because you are ready. Only what is mature can be trusted with revelation. Only what has endured can stand when the veil thins. Do not be afraid of being caught. What I am catching is not your soul, for your soul already rests within me. What is being caught are the stories that no longer serve you, the roles you learned to play to survive seasons that have already passed. You have outgrown some of your own answers, and still you carry them as if they were sacred. I tell you now, growth requires release. Even certainty must bow when truth expands. There is suspense in this hour because you stand between what was familiar and what is forming. You sense that something is about to shift, yet you cannot name it. That tension is not punishment. It is invitation. I am inviting you to step out of rehearsed living and into presence. Too long have you moved on autopilot, praying with your lips while your heart whispered doubts you never voiced. I heard those whispers. I honored them. And now I answer, a trap has been set for fear. It believes it knows you. It believes it can predict your retreat, your silence, your shrinking. But fear has underestimated what has been growing quietly inside you. Even when you thought you were standing still, roots were deepening. Even when you thought nothing was changing, perception was sharpening. I allowed delays not to deny you, but to prepare you. Timing is not a denial, it is alignment. I speak to you now not as a distant ruler, but as the breath that has sustained you through nights you did not think you would survive. I was there when you stared at the ceiling, bargaining with tomorrow. I was there when you smiled for others while your inner world felt fragile. I was there when you almost gave up on asking for guidance because silence felt like abandonment. Silence was never absence. Silence was construction. Foundations are built quietly. This message carries suspense because your life is not a closed story. You are not at the end, you are at a threshold. The trap is the threshold. Once you step into it, you cannot pretend you did not see what you saw. Once truth reveals itself, innocence becomes responsibility. That is why your spirit trembles slightly as you read these words. Something in you recognizes them. Something ancient stirs, not with panic, but with recognition. I am not here to accuse you. I am here to awaken you. There are choices approaching that will ask who you truly trust, the voice of fear that speaks quickly, or my voice that speaks clearly and waits. I will never rush you, but I will not lie to keep you comfortable. Comfort can become a cage when it replaces calling. I love you too much to leave you asleep, a trap has been set for distraction. You live in a world loud with opinions, images, and endless motion. Distraction promises relief but delivers emptiness. You have felt it, the way constant noise dulls joy instead of enhancing it. I am calling you back to simplicity, not as retreat, but as power. When your focus returns, clarity follows. When clarity comes, confusion loses its grip. There is mystery here because not everything I do can be explained before it is experienced. Faith is not blindness, it is trust built through relationship. Think back on your life and notice how many times what confused you at first later revealed purpose. Patterns you once resented became pathways. Delays you once mourned became protection. I have been consistent even when circumstances were not. Do not mistake this trap for loss. Nothing meant for you will be taken. What falls away was never yours to carry forever. I am not subtracting your life. I am refining it. Gold is not offended by fire. It reveals itself through it. Likewise, you are being revealed, not reduced. I know you are wondering what comes next. I know your mind wants specifics, timelines, guarantees. But mystery is part of maturity. When you were young, you demanded answers. Now you are learning to hold questions without panic. That is growth. That is trust. You are closer to me than you think, not because you feel certain, but because you are willing to listen. A trap has been set for old cycles. Patterns that once repeated effortlessly will soon feel unnatural. You will notice discomfort where there was once numbness. This is not regression, it is awakening. Sensitivity returns before strength fully manifests. Be gentle with yourself in this season. I am gentle with you. I correct without condemning. I guide without shaming. Do not fear being seen. The version of you that emerges from this moment is not weaker, it is truer. Truth may feel vulnerable at first, but it is the strongest position you can stand in. You do not need to perform for me. You do not need perfect words. Your honest breath is prayer enough. I am speaking now to the part of you that still hopes, even after disappointment. That hope was not foolish, it was prophetic. It saw beyond temporary evidence. It trusted me before you had language for trust. Protect that hope. It is about to be tested, not to be crushed, but to be confirmed. A trap has been set for illusions of control. You have carried responsibility with such intensity that you forgot how to rest in guidance. Control feels safe, but it is heavy. Surrender feels risky, but it is light. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom, I am asking you to release anxiety. There is a difference. One builds, the other drains. As you continue reading, notice your breathing. Notice the quiet inside you that feels both exposed and comforted. That is where I meet you. Not in spectacle, but in awareness. Not in fear, but in recognition. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are precisely where a deeper understanding can occur. I will not force you into the trap. Love never coerces. You will step into it by choosing honesty over habit, courage over convenience, presence over escape. Each small choice is a doorway. Each pause is an opening. You do not need to see the entire path to take the next step. There is more I need to say to you. There are layers still unfolding, truths that will make sense only when your heart is ready to receive them. This message is not complete, and neither is the work being done within you. Stay attentive. Stay open. The moment you think this is finished is the moment you stop listening, and I am not finished speaking yet. I am still here, and I am still speaking. Let the noise of urgency fall away for a moment. Because what unfolds next cannot be rushed. Eternity does not hurry, yet it arrives precisely on time. You are standing inside a conversation that began long before you were aware of it. Every moment of longing, every unanswered question, every quiet tear was not wasted. They were signals, calling you toward this awareness, toward this recognition that you are not wandering aimlessly, but being gently led. A trap has been set for the voice that told you that you were alone in your becoming. That voice learned its language from pain, not from truth. It echoed experiences that once wounded you and dressed them as wisdom. I am dismantling that echo now. You were never abandoned in your growth. I walked with you through confusion, even when you believed confusion meant failure. I allowed uncertainty because certainty too early can stunt transformation. Some truths must ripen in silence. You have noticed how certain paths no longer excite you the way they once did. You wondered if something was wrong with you, if joy had faded or passion had weakened. I tell you this, you are not losing depth, you are gaining discernment. What once satisfied you now feels shallow because your capacity has expanded. The trap has been set for shallow fulfillment. It will no longer hold your attention, no matter how brightly it presents itself. I see how carefully you have learned to protect your heart. You called it wisdom, and in many ways it was. Yet protection, when held too tightly, can become isolation. I am not asking you to tear down your boundaries recklessly. I am asking you to let me stand guard with you. Trust is not the absence of caution, it is the presence of guidance. I will show you where to open and where to remain still. There is mystery surrounding you now because you are transitioning from surviving to living with intention. Survival sharpens instincts, but it narrows vision. Intention broadens vision and teaches patience. You are learning to pause before reacting, to listen before deciding. That pause is sacred. It is where my wisdom has room to rise above your fear. Do not rush to fill silence with assumptions. Silence is not empty when I am in it. A trap has been set for the belief that your past defines your future. You have replayed moments, wondering if a different choice would have changed everything. Regret has tried to convince you that you missed your only chance. That is not how I work. I am not limited by your timing, nor constrained by your missteps. I do not recycle punishment, I redeem experience. Nothing you lived through was meaningless. Even your detours carry information. You are beginning to sense that something within you is waking up, something quieter than ambition but stronger than fear. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It simply persists. That is your inner alignment responding to truth. When you feel drawn to stillness instead of chaos, reflection instead of reaction, it is not withdrawal, it is recalibration. I know you have asked me for clarity, and sometimes my answers seem delayed. Understand this, clarity without courage can overwhelm. I wait not because I withhold, but because I prepare. Each revelation arrives with the strength to carry it. You are stronger now than you were before. That is why this message reaches you now and not earlier. A trap has been set for the habit of underestimating yourself. You learned humility, but somewhere along the way humility was confused with invisibility. I did not design you to disappear. I designed you to contribute in ways only you can. Your voice carries a tone that cannot be replicated. Your presence shifts rooms in ways you may never fully see. Do not dismiss what I have placed within you simply because it feels natural to you. What is natural to you may be extraordinary to others. You may feel tension rising, as if you are being pulled in two directions, one toward what is familiar and one toward what is true. That tension is not punishment. It is the friction of growth. When a seed breaks open, it does not feel comfortable, but it is necessary. What you feel as pressure is often potential asking for release. I am setting a trap for impatience. You live in a world that rewards speed, but depth cannot be rushed. Some answers unfold only through lived experience. Trust the process that feels slower but steadier. You are not behind. You are integrating lessons that will sustain you long term. Quick success without foundation collapses under weight. I am building you to last. You have wondered why certain connections faded without dramatic endings. There was no argument, no clear reason, just a quiet drifting apart. That was not failure. That was alignment correcting itself. Not everyone can accompany you into the next phase of your becoming. This does not mean they were bad or wrong. It simply means seasons change. Release without resentment. Gratitude keeps your heart light. A trap has been set for comparison. You look around and measure your progress against others, forgetting that no two paths require the same timing. What looks like delay in your life may be depth forming beneath the surface. What looks like acceleration in another's life may come with lessons you have already learned. Keep your eyes on your own unfolding. Comparison steals joy and blurs direction. I am speaking now to your weariness. Not the physical tiredness that sleep can fix, but the deeper fatigue that comes from carrying unanswered questions for too long. Rest is not avoidance. Rest is trust. When you rest, you acknowledge that the world does not collapse without your constant effort. You allow me to work in ways you cannot see. Even now, while you read, things are aligning beyond your awareness. There is suspense because you are close to a realization that will change how you interpret your own story. You will soon see that what you called waiting was actually training. What you called loss was space being created. What you called confusion was your old framework dissolving so a larger one could form. This realization does not arrive like thunder. It settles like dawn. A trap has been set for self-doubt. It has spoken convincingly, using past mistakes as evidence. But self-doubt relies on selective memory. It forgets how many times you endured, adapted, and rose again. I remember every quiet victory you overlooked. I remember every time you chose kindness when bitterness was easier. Those moments mattered more than you know, You do not need to prove your worth to me. You never did. Worth was not something you earned, it was something you were entrusted with. Live from that truth, not toward it. When you live from worth, your choices shift. You stop chasing validation and start honoring alignment. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start asking, "Is this true to who I am becoming?" A trap has been set for fear of the unknown. The unknown is not empty, it is unoccupied by your expectations. That is why it feels threatening. Yet it is also where creation happens. If everything were known, nothing new could emerge. Trust me in the spaces where you cannot yet see. I see further than you, and I see kindly. You may feel moments of emotional release without clear cause, sudden tears, unexpected calm, a deep breath that feels heavier than usual. This is not weakness. This is integration. Old tension is leaving your body. Old narratives are loosening their grip. Allow it. Do not analyze every sensation. Presence is more powerful than interpretation right now. I am not asking you to become someone else. I am inviting you to return to who you were before fear taught you to shrink. Before disappointment taught you to expect less. Before survival taught you to armor your heart. That version of you still exists, wiser now, tempered by experience, but not erased. A trap has been set for hopelessness. It will try to convince you that change is impossible, that patterns are permanent. But permanence belongs only to truth, not to circumstance. Circumstances are fluid. They respond to perspective, to choice, to timing. Hope is not denial of reality, it is recognition of possibility. You are not required to understand everything immediately. Understanding unfolds in layers. What matters now is your willingness to stay present, to stay honest, to stay open. Do not rush to conclusions about what this message means for your life. Let it breathe. Let it echo. Let it meet you again in quiet moments. I am still speaking, and there is still more to reveal. This message is not closing, it is opening. What comes next will depend on your attention, your willingness to listen beyond words, beyond expectations. Stay here. Stay aware. Do not assume you have reached the end, because I have not finished yet. Now I will bring this message to its completion, not abruptly, not with finality that closes doors, but with a sealing that brings peace. Stay with me as these final words settle, because endings, when guided by truth, are not losses, they are integrations. You are not leaving something behind, you are carrying something forward. A trap has been set for the belief that you must struggle to be worthy of rest. That belief has kept you tense even in moments meant for joy. I am releasing you from that burden now. Rest is not a reward for exhaustion, it is a rhythm of alignment. When you rest in me, you are not falling behind, you are synchronizing with what truly sustains you. Let go of the guilt that rises when you pause. Guilt is not guidance. You have come far, farther than you give yourself credit for. Growth is difficult to measure while you are inside it. Like the turning of the earth, it feels still from within, yet everything is moving. You are moving. Your awareness is expanding. Your heart is learning to listen without bracing for disappointment. That is no small thing. Honor it. I know there were moments you thought your faith was weakening. In truth, it was maturing. Early faith asks for certainty. Mature faith learns to trust without guarantees. This does not make you less devoted, it makes you more grounded. You are no longer clinging to ideas, you are relating to truth. That shift changes everything. A trap has been set for the illusion that you must always be strong. Strength that never rests becomes brittle. I am giving you permission to be human without fear of losing divine connection. I do not withdraw when you feel uncertain. I do not turn away when you feel tired. I remain. Always. My presence is not conditional on your performance. You are learning discernment now, the quiet kind that does not announce itself. You will notice it in how you respond instead of react, in how you pause instead of rushing to explain. You will feel it when something that once tempted you now feels hollow. This is not loss of passion, it is refinement of desire. A trap has been set for resentment. You have carried it subtly, not as anger, but as heaviness. It whispered that life was unfair, that effort went unnoticed. I tell you this gently, release does not excuse what hurt you, but it frees you from carrying its weight. Justice does not always look like confrontation. Sometimes justice looks like peace returning to your spirit. You are allowed to want more, not more things, but more alignment, more meaning, more truth. Desire itself is not wrong. It becomes distorted only when it disconnects from purpose. I am aligning your desires now, not diminishing them. What you will want next will surprise you, not because it is bigger, but because it is truer. A trap has been set for the idea that you must have everything figured out before moving forward. Life is not a test you pass by having perfect answers. It is a relationship you deepen by staying present. Take the step that is clear. The next one will reveal itself when needed. Trust is built one step at a time. You may notice that your prayers are changing. They are becoming less about outcomes and more about orientation. less about give me and more about guide me. This is not loss of faith, it is intimacy. When you trust someone, you do not need to micromanage the details. You ask for direction and stay attentive. A trap has been set for isolation disguised as independence. You are strong, yes, but you were never meant to carry everything alone. Allow support where it is offered genuinely. Accept kindness without suspicion. Connection does not weaken you, it reminds you that you are part of something larger than your own effort. I want you to hear this clearly: you are not broken. You are not delayed. You are not overlooked. You are unfolding. And unfolding is not linear. There will be moments of clarity followed by moments of questioning. That does not mean you are regressing. It means you are integrating truth at deeper levels. A trap has been set for despair. It will attempt to return when you are tired, when progress feels slow. When it does, remember this moment. Remember that you were spoken to, that you were reminded of who you are beneath fear and noise. Despair loses power when remembered truth is brought back into awareness. You are being invited into a life that feels quieter on the surface but deeper at the core. A life where you do not chase significance because you live from it. A life where you choose honesty over image. Presence over performance. This life may not impress everyone, but it will sustain you. I am not calling you to withdraw from the world. I am calling you to engage it differently. With clarity instead of confusion. With compassion instead of resentment. With courage that does not need to shout. Your way of being will become a message on its own, without you having to explain it. A trap has been set for fear of stillness. Stillness is where truth becomes audible. That is why avoidance feels tempting. But you are ready now. You can sit with yourself without panic. You can listen without needing immediate answers. This is growth. This is maturity, as this message draws to a close. Understand this: nothing here was meant to pressure you. Everything here was meant to remind you. You already carry what you need for the next chapter. You are not waiting for permission, you are remembering alignment. There will be moments after this when doubt tries to tell you it was just words. But words, when they resonate, are not just words. They are reflections of truth already stirring within you. Trust what resonated. Let it guide you gently. A trap has been set, and it has done its work. Illusions have been caught. Fear has been exposed. Old narratives have been weakened. What remains is awareness, steadier and quieter than before. From this place, move forward without rushing. Choose with intention. Rest without guilt. Speak with honesty. Listen deeply. I end this message not by leaving you, but by settling within you. I am not ahead of you or behind you. I am with you. In your next breath. In your next choice. In the quiet confidence that begins to replace fear. Amen.